When do you actually have to pay taxes? If you just sell stuff out of your closet, does that mean you owe IRS? Or can you just simply not report it and nothing will happen to you? Let's talk about it. I come up with this question a lot on Facebooks and Instagrams. When do I have to pay? What if I'm just a hobby? What if I just sell occasionally? Does that mean I have to file taxes for IRS? Well, IRS only charges you on profit. So as long as you understand when you're actually making profit, you will know if you have to pay taxes or not. Now, to figure out when you're profitable, let's look at what if you're just a hobbyist and you're really not doing this as a full-time or even part-time, you just sell on occasion. Think of it, if you took $100 and you say you went thrifting or you went to the bins, you spent your $100, you brought it home, and you made $200. Do you have to pay taxes? Logically, if you took $100 and you made $200 out of it, so $100 kind of cancels each other out, and then you have that other $100 in your pocket, you would think that you should be paying taxes from it. But not exactly. You have deductions. You have things that cost you to make that $100. There was gas you had to put to your car to drive to the thrift store. There was a internet bill you had to pay to list online. There is also cost of goods, which is your shipping and your PayPal and your eBay fees. And a lot of other factors that will come out of that $100 extra that you made. So after you deduct everything, if you even have $1 left over, that is your profit, and you have to pay IRS on that $1 that's left over. However, if by the time you added all your deductions, you actually lost $1, because you're a hobby, IRS really doesn't care. It's kind of like, well, you're a hobbyist. Too bad for you. Next time, do better. However, if you were a business in that exact same scenario, you would have been able to take that $1 that you lost money off and offset your 9-to-5 day job. Okay, let's break all that down. So basically, in this country, IRS does not tax us on our gross income we bring. So, if you sell occasionally something from your closet, and you went to the store and you bought a dress at $50, and then 2 years later you sold it at $10 on eBay, there is no taxes you owe whatsoever. You don't even have to tell your accountant, you don't have to file, you don't have to do anything. It was a personal use item. It was at the loss. There's just nothing can be done with it. You don't owe anything to IRS. You're clear. However, if you bought a $50 item and over next 2 years, it was one-of-a-kind item, and all of a sudden now it costs $300 and you sold it on eBay, you just made $200. And regardless if that was your personal item, regardless if you were a hobbyist or whatever, you owe IRS on those $200 after deductions. And I'm going to make a whole separate video on everything you can deduct for eBay. But for right now, I really want you guys to understand at what point we actually have to pay taxes. Now, if you sold $20,000 and 200 transactions, it's not or, it's and. So you have to have $20,000 and 200 transactions. PayPal will send you $10.99. That $10.99 also went to IRS. It got reported. So you can't ignore it. You can't put it under your pillow. They'll find it. They'll come after you with penalties you have to file. If you only made it to 19,000 and let's say 200 transactions, PayPal is not going to send you a form. Does that mean IRS doesn't know about it? Heck yes, they do. PayPal is not going to eat the taxes you're supposed to pay. So don't ignore it. Don't just put it under your pillow. Taxes are actually not a bad thing, and if you know what you're doing, there's so much benefit to it, and you can get your nice little refund and go thrifting some more. You know, isn't that what it's all about? So yes, PayPal will not send you anything below 20,200 transactions. So let's say you sold a car, just one car, for $25,000. Because you don't have 200 transactions, you will also not get a form. So it's going to be up to you then to show that you originally purchased the car for 30 and then, you know, sold it for 25 and you don't owe anything on it. But for us everyday resellers, if we have not reached 20,000, you will not get a form. You will have to go into PayPal and you will have to print that form on your own. It's not really a form, it's just a statement, and it will show you exactly how much money was put into PayPal, how much was refunded to the buyers, how much came out of PayPal. And you can, if you keep additional bookkeeping, you'll be able to put all that together and have a clear picture where you are for that year. Unless you just sell, say, your kids' old clothes and you're really not, you're like very occasional eBay seller, like I mean once every month or something, then you probably are selling stuff from your own closet. You most likely paid more for them originally than what you're selling them for, and then you pretty much don't even need this video. However, if you are selling, you know, if you're trying to replace your 9-to-5, if you're just supplementing income, if there's any kind of income coming, then we need to look at if you're going to be a hobby or if you're going to be a business. Business does not mean you need to go run and open a company. It doesn't mean you need an S corporation, C corporation, LLC. And that's probably another video I should do and talk about that. But for right now, you're a sole proprietor and you are going to file Schedule C on your taxes to figure all this out. So you could be a business and just be you. You don't need a corporation. In your mind, you just have to decide, am I a business? Am I a hobby? If you're a business, you have way more benefits than if you decide you're a hobby. So unless you're selling your stuff out of your closet and it's like a literally 1 to 2 time occurrence and you're going to be done, you should make up your mind to be a business. The reason you want to be a business is because you get a lot of deductions that you could take off out of your, what we consider profit. As a reseller, and this like took me a while too, you know, I felt like if I took $1 and I made 3 out of it, that means I made $2 profit. Well, that is completely untrue. By the time you deduct your cost of goods, actually is going to be more than the original dollar you spend, because you have to take inventory costs, you have to take shipping, you have to take PayPal fees, eBay fees, add all that in. If you have any fulfillment, like, you know, you're storing it somewhere or somebody is fulfilling that order for you, that also goes into cost of goods. So all that wrapped together is cost of your inventory. So even though you spend $1 at the bins, by the time you add all that in, it's probably costing you $4 or $5 just for the cost of goods. And then remember, you have the gas and the mileage in the car that takes you to and for the bins. You have your cell phone bill, because, you know, we list a lot on there. You have your internet bill. You have your computer that you need to pay for. You have your camera, your lights, desk you're sitting at. All of that is tax deductible. And like I said, there is we as the resellers have our own categories of what we can deduct, and I will make a video on that. We'll talk about that as well. But you take what you spend for inventory, you take everything that it costs you to run your business. And the cool thing about it is kind of like a loophole. You know, even the light bulbs up in this awesome basement I'm sitting in, I would have bought them regardless. I would have bought them for my own use. Get pans. We all have a pan in the house. But now because we have a business, all of a sudden this pan is tax-free. We do not pay taxes when we buy. It goes from tax dollars to pre-tax dollars. All of a sudden the light bulbs that I would have purchased anyway for this basement, all of a sudden they are moving into an expense category, and I am not paying taxes out of my money for those expenses. So that is a very cool thing about having a business. You can even, if you're running this out of your home, you can deduct that portion of your house. It becomes tax deductible. So that is actually really, really cool. So by the time you deduct cost of goods and everything it costs you to sustain that business, then you subtract that from the amount you actually made of your sales, and whatever left over, that is your profit. Now, we're of course all want to be in the positive, but it sometimes it doesn't work out like that. Sometimes we make not such a smart decision. We buy some inventory and it just doesn't sit anywhere. It just doesn't sell anywhere. By the way, when that happens, you donate it. It also, there's a special place where you write that off, and I will show you how to do that as well. So it is very possible for you to go thrifting, you know, spend a couple $100, come home, flip it into an extra couple $100, and not really owe any taxes. Don't think you don't have to keep books, and don't think you don't have to file. You have to show the government why you don't owe any taxes. But as long as you got your ducks in order, you could show the IRS that this was my cost of goods, this is what it cost me to make that amount, and this is what actually is left over. And then if something is left over, they will tax you on it, and you only pay from whatever your profits are. Now, if, like, going back, you didn't make the smartest choice, or the market changed, or whatever inventory you brought home is just not selling, and you're actually in the negative. So let's just take $1,000. You took $1,000, you went, you shopped. At the end of the day, when everything's said and done, you sold all that for $800. So you're not just $200 in a hole. By the time you add cost of goods, that shipping, that PayPal fee, eBay fee, all that stuff, and by the time you add what it takes you to run the business, you could be $1,500 in a hole. What happens to those $1,500 when you're a business? IRS takes it and offsets your 9-to-5 job. So if you make $20,000 a year on your 9-to-5 job, you know, they take out of your paycheck taxes all the time, and then you lost $1,500 in your eBay business, what will happen is IRS will take that $20,000 you made on your 9-to-5, they'll take the $1,500 you lost on eBay, they'll subtract it, and now you only get to be taxed on $18,500 from your 9-to-5, not on your full 20. So when you're a business, you could take your losses from eBay and you can offset your 9-to-5 job and pay less taxes at your regular job. So you always want to be a business. And remember, when I say losses, it doesn't mean you physically lost money. It just means that all of a sudden your light bulbs and your cell phone bill and your internet bill became tax deductible, and they have offset your profits. So, to recap, if you're selling stuff out of the closet and you're making zero money, it's a wash. There are no taxes. Don't worry about it. Go enjoy your life. If you're trying to resell and you claiming yourself as a hobby, you still have to pay taxes on profit. IRS doesn't care if you have losses. You cannot offset your 9-to-5 with it. So being a hobby is really, I don't know, not a good idea. If you're a business, keep in mind that your profit is not as simple as I bought it for $1, I made $1.20, therefore my profit is 20 cents. Absolutely not. In that case, you actually lost money, even though you got to keep the 20 cents in your pocket. you, in the eyes of IRS, you still lost money. It's a beautiful thing, I said, because it's like a whole loophole of the things that you normally would consider, would pay for anyway. Now they become tax deductible. I hope that clears it up to what point you have to pay taxes, and always do pay your taxes. Taxes are not scary at all. Taxes do give you a lot of benefits. There are a lot of loopholes that if you educate yourself, and I can help you get educated with that if that's what you want, you can make your finances, your taxes work to your advantage. And in this day and age, between Google and YouTubers and irs.gov, yes, you can go in there. It's not really that complicated. You can type in the search bar whatever it is you're looking for, and they will bring up an actual law. Yes, you have to read it. It's a little dry, but very, very, very accessible. And you know, you have no idea how many times I just called up IRS. I'm taping with my phone. I was gonna take my phone and show you. I have them on speed dial. If I have any kind of question, I call them and I actually get a real person. They do answer my questions. They're really good at that. You would think IRS would be like difficult to deal with, but not really. So having an awesome CPA obviously is a huge plus. But remember, you have to advocate for yourself. They are your finances, and you have to take a moment to learn about them. You have to find your own loopholes. Even if you go to CPA, it's always good to come and say, this is how I want you to do it. This is how I think it should be done. Now you take a look at it and tell me why it can be done like that. Okay, guys, I think that's it. I hope that clarified it and not made it even more confusing. I am going to be doing YouTube a little more regularly. I think I kind of got the kinks worked out. Equipment wise, I'm still not switched from my phone to the camera, but I'm hoping to do 2 videos a week for you guys. So maybe one of them should be finances, taxes, bookkeeping, and the other one will be actual life of eBay. So one is more businessy eBay, one is more what the heck are we selling and how are we running eBay itself. Does that sound good? I'm open to feedback. I'm open to any suggestions, comments. I haven't been super good replying to your comments on YouTube, and that's just because there's a lot going on with eBay itself and family and Instagram and Facebook and now YouTube. But I have restructured a lot, and I really am going to dedicate probably an hour and a half a day just to YouTube, which means I will be going through all the comments and I will back read everything. But I do see them, and you guys, thank you so much for everything you say. When I started doing YouTube, I had a lot of this, like, do I even need to do it? There's so much content out there, why? But I wanted to connect with you guys, and I wanted to answer questions once instead of typing it to everybody over and over and over again. But the response from you guys just, wow, overwhelming, so humbling for me. So I do read your comments, I just have not gotten a chance to reply to them, so I will back reply to them, and I will be setting time every day, probably an hour to an hour and a half, to reply to you guys, to communicate with you guys. So do put in there what you want to see, give any feedback you want. I hear you guys saying the sound sucks. I'm working on that in the next, hopefully, video that will get fixed. That's it. Let's work together. Let's educate ourselves. And let's list. Turn off this video. Go list. Because at the end of the day, all this knowledge is useless unless we can actually make money and apply it to it. Okay, that's it. My kids are up. They're running. I have to go. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Lots and lots of sales. Bye.